Hey podheads, welcome back to the channel. I'm your newly mustachioed Mr. Starbuck, aka Prince of Dorkness, and today we're going to take a look at the Dark Ages miniseries from Marvel Comics. So stick around, let's talk comics. Hey podheads, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Starbuck, aka Prince of Dorkness. Make sure that you give me a thumbs up, go ahead and subscribe below, and ring the bell for notifications so you know when I have new videos coming up. Today, we're going to take a look at the Dark Ages miniseries by Marvel Comics. This book was written by Tom Taylor with art by Iban Coello and Brian Reber. I have a lot to say about this, guys. This book was not what I expected, and I'm really thankful for it. So let's get right into it. With miniseries, I tend to not read them right away because I feel like they take too long. I don't want to read 6 issues over 6 months if that's all there's going to be. So I tend to wait until, I've got most of the issues before I really start reading it. And Dark Ages was no different. I read the first 3 issues once I had those 3 collected several months ago, but now the final issues dropped, and having forgotten a lot of it, I reread the whole thing, and oh my goodness, guys. So it's like Tom King was told, all right, so here's your first and possibly last chance to ever write Marvel books. We'll let you use whoever you want. And he was like, let's see how many people I can kill. It was definitely not a book that falls into the regular canon, but I really enjoyed it. I thought this was, no kidding guys, some of the most fun that I've had reading comics in like all year. This book made me feel like a kid again. It was so fast paced. There were so many surprises, and because it's one of those books that's not really a canon book, there's just so much going on. In just the first 10 pages of the book, you see the characters Peter Parker, you see Mary Jane Watson, you see Little May, you see Luke and Jessica, you see Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, Jean Grey, Professor X, Apocalypse, the Fantastic Four, the Watcher. Like, oh my goodness, everyone's in this book, and it's really fantastic. It's exciting to see so many crossover characters in just 6 issues with such a fast-paced story. So the story starts out in Peter Parker's apartment. We've got Peter, MJ, Little May, Luke Cage, Jessica, and their daughter, whose name I forget. And they're all just hanging out, eating a meal, being very family-like. It's a very wholesome setting. Everything is brought to a quick head when all of the spider people get an incredibly overwhelming spider sense that something horrible is happening. Even May, Peter, you see Spider-Gwen, Miles, they're all just disabled from the pain of the spider sense. Peter says that it's worse than when Galactus attacked Earth. Then we see Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl, we see the Fantastic Four, there's some collaborating of minds, but effectively the Watcher comes down from space and says, this is the event that I've been watching for. 10 billion years ago, there was created a living robot whose job was to stop the entropy of the universe, and so they created this giant robot to effectively eat black holes. Over eons, the dark energy corrupted the robot, and he was too powerful for, I don't know who it was, the Celestials or whoever it was that was fighting him. It was too powerful for them to destroy, so they placed him inside a newly forming planet, and, well, you can see where it's going from there. So this creature is waking up inside planet Earth. Surprisingly enough, the story is so fast-paced that by the end of the first issue, we've already beat the big bad and have moved on to what life is like after we beat the bad guy. During the fight, again, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but we lose several of our heroes, but not before a portal is open to another dimension that has basically a giant EMP at the center of it. The electromagnetic pulse comes through the portal, disallows the living robot to continue living, and that's where our heroes fall. Unfortunately, they're not able to close the gate before they do, and so Earth is completely shadowed by a lack of electricity. There's no power, no heat, no anything. And humanity spends several years learning how to live, quote unquote, in the Dark Ages. It is a wonderful storyline. There are so many twists and turns. Even in the first couple of issues, there are some wonderful betrayals that you're like, oh, how could that happen? And then you're like, oh, that's how that happened. And I just really loved it, guys. Seriously. Tom Taylor, I know I've read a little bit of his stuff. I think it from DC. But I really think that Tom Taylor should write everything. I love the amount of levity that's in the story. Like, I felt like it was a big story and there were big stakes. But at the same time, like, I felt like it was moving fast and there was a lot of like care in the story for the characters. I thought that, you know, in the end, even though the story ends somewhat tragically in the sense that it doesn't return you to canon time or anything. It pretty much just goes through the story. It ends, you get your ending, and there's no magic key to change everything back to the way it was. No unsnap, if you will. So we lose a lot of our heroes in this book, and I loved it. I thought it was just a great way to tell a story. And, you know, who cares if it's kind of a what if? It's just a really great one-off. So I absolutely recommend picking this up. The artwork was good. You know, there were no parts of the book where I was like, oh, I didn't really care for the art. To be honest with you, I didn't really notice the art so much my first couple of read-throughs, just because I was so hooked on the story that the art, although obviously being a big part of the storytelling, became secondary because so much of the story was dialogue that was delivered so well. I did go back through, I read the book, the whole series a second time, and I took my time to appreciate the art and really enjoyed everything in the book. I really didn't think that this book did anything wrong. I have nothing bad to say about it. This is the first miniseries I've read in months and months and months where I'm just so thankful that I read it. And if it's collected in trade soon, which I'm sure it will be, do yourself a favor and pick it up. It is the most fun that you're gonna have. You know, and one of the things that this book reminds me of is I recently did the review of the Chip Zdarsky Quinones run on Howard the Duck. I did the omnibus review. And it reminds me of that in a sense that although Howard the Duck was very irreverent and this book is not, it also felt like a creator taking some time and just playing in the world that he appreciates and that he loves so much. Like I said, this book is not irreverent by any means. It gives all of our superheroes and our characters a very close personal touch and a loving style of writing that you don't see in most books. So that's my review of the Dark Ages miniseries by Marvel Comics. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe down below, give me a thumbs up, and also keep in mind that I will be doing a couple of new videos this weekend. I'm going to do some special type of formats. I'm going to be reviewing some records, and I'll also be, I expect in the next couple of days, doing my first Dungeons and Dragons book review. So make sure you stick around, ring the bell for notifications, and comment below what you thought about the Dark Ages miniseries, because I have so many thoughts about it. Let's talk about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, when all else fails, take a nap. Good night.